All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? Back here Thursday, 30th of January for a nice 10-game slate on FanDuel and DraftKings here. Coming off a big night on Tuesday's main slate, 8-game slate. A lot of SHIPIT Nation logos towards the top of the leaderboards. Congrats to everybody out there who had a big night, myself included. That's always fun to smash a slate like that. Shout out to my boy Tage Thompson and JJ Paterka, the double hat trick in the core. You always love to see that up on the website. But looking forward to keeping that momentum rolling here tonight after a pretty tough night last night. But, hey, we bounced back here. Fun slate tonight. I think ownership's going to focus around Carolina and probably the Kraken, I would assume. But we're going to see what we can do to jump in and break it all down here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. If you're not a member yet, hey, good news. SHIP50 is the code. Gets you 50% off your first month, including an optimizer. So you get all sports. That will take you all the way through. You got the Waste Management Open next week. You got the Super Bowl next week. You got a big tournament that is about to tee off right now this week. Then you got another great tournament after the Waste Management, just all things, incredible time of the year right now. I get it, football's winding down, but you got an NHL every night, NASCAR's coming back, you got PGA every week, you got MMA and NBA nightly. We got you covered there. So SHIP50 is $50 off your first month with all access to Shiptimizer there. So head over to shipitnation.com, use that promo code and get in our Discord where plenty of very knowledgeable, very, very good players are talking, discussing amongst their plays and strategy, and just overall amazing community. Very, very, very little tilting, probably the least amount of tilting I've ever seen in a Discord for fantasy sports, but just an overall amazing community there. But hey, we're here to talk about NHL DFS, looking at this 10-game slate here. I got our best tool in all of DFS. Thanks to our guy DGen over there, the Stone up on the screen here. And we're going to use it to break down this game here, or all 10 games, I should say. First game in the slate here, 5.5 total in this one, Jets and the Bruins. Bruins at home. I like this spot a decent amount here for Winnipeg. Winnipeg's the better team, in my opinion, here. We just attacked the Bruins last game when they played Buffalo on Tuesday. Swayman was in net, I believe. I like attacking these guys again here with Winnipeg. Line 2 is nice with Perfetti, Ehlers, and Nemesnikov. I think that line is good, but Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, and Gabe Vilardi here are also great plays. That's probably my preferred line is going to be top line. Second line is nice value there, so you got a nice line stack and a nice value stack from the same team there. Both good options. Josh Morrissey at $6K. Really good spend-up option. You got Dylan DeMello and Dylan Sandberg. You got Dylan Square down there in terms of two value D-men. Both good options there. Neil Pionk is also a solid play. On the Bruins side, Mason Lowery here, 3,400. Still continue to play him. Still continues to be too cheap. Scored a goal on Tuesday again. He's a very, very good young talent, young prospect there. Very good player in general. Outside of that, probably not getting to any Bruins. I like Hellebuck quite a bit in net at 7,800. Very, very good goalie here. Don't think he picks up too much ownership. I'm seeing about 20%. Should stay in check for the most part, but really good options on the Jets side here in this one. Next game on the slate here. This is my sneaker spot of the evening here. Montreal at home here against the Wild. The reason I like this, number one, Wild are on a back-to-back with travel here. Number two, Fleury's going to be in net. He's not as good as Gus. And Montreal's actually been pretty sneaky as of late. So I like Montreal quite a bit in this spot. I don't think many people are going to play him at all. Give me Suzuki. Give me Caulfield, give me Laine, Slafkovsky, and Lane Hudson. Those are kind of the 5 guys I'm looking at there. The top power play. Really like it. Wild penalty kill sitting at about 74% or 76%, and Montreal's power play on home ice sitting over 24%. Actually pretty good. They draw a lot of penalties. So I like this spot quite a bit for Montreal. They're slight favorites in Vegas. Should keep the ownership in check there. I really like this spot for Montreal here. This is probably my Buffalo of Tuesday here. I just don't expect ownership to go to them, and I think we could definitely see some explosions. Some of these price points are coming down on some of these guys. Laine in the lineup does hurt Caulfield, so I don't know if I'd play Laine and Caulfield together, to be honest, just because Laine on that power play does take that sniper role and that shooter role. So if you're power play stacking, I actually probably like going Suzuki, Laine, Slafkovsky there. Gets you a little cross-ice correlation as well. So going like a Suzuki, Laine, Slafkovsky, Lane Hudson, something like that, I think is definitely interesting. You get 2 from line 1, 2 from line 2 on full strength, and then 4 from the top power play there. So like that quite a bit. Sorry for the birds chirping in the background. I got the window open here. It's finally above 40 degrees in Wisconsin, so you guys get to listen to some nice birds chirping out there in the background. A little ASMR action out there for everyone. On the Wild side, Zuccarello, Boldy are fine. Outside of that, I really just don't have much interest in the Wild, to be honest here. I think Jacob Dobbs is also a really good option at 7,500. Nobody's going to play him, and he's in that mid-tier, fits the script of what I usually like to do with goalie, and he's at home, so I like him quite a bit. He's been really good in his limited starts. As you can see, 1.93 goal against average, so I like that quite a bit. The only guys I would have interest in on the Wild side are Jared Spurgeon, still pretty cheap. Brock Faber, still pretty cheap. Those 2 guys I think are fine. Outside of that, probably fade in the Wild here tonight personally. Next game on the slate here, we have the Caps and the Senators here. Another 5.5 total. That's kind of the story of the slate. A lot of 5.5 totals here. Very, very similar to Tuesday night slate. A lot of the good game environments are late games outside of the Carolina game that we'll talk about. But another 5.5 total here. Not much interest for me personally in this one. I think you could play Pierre-Luc Dubois, Protas, and McMichael. That second line has been actually pretty solid since they've been back together here. Tom Wilson is bumped back up to that top line, so does make me a little bit more interested in that top Washington line again with Strome, Ovechkin, and Wilson back together. So Washington's kind of going back to the early ways of the season when they were really crushing out there. So could be a slight boost to Washington here. Washington could be a sleeper team here against Levi Merlin in here, but he's actually been pretty solid. Logan Thompson's been pretty solid. 2 really good goalies here, in my opinion here. So overall, probably a fade spot for me. If I had interest, it would probably be on the Washington side personally, but not a spot, not making my top 7 or 8 teams on this 10-game slate here. So MME only for me, maybe. Maybe some of these guys trickle into one of my two teams, main teams, but probably not very likely that they do here. Rasmus Sandin at 2,800, he's fine as a value play. Like I said, Logan Thompson and Levy here are both good options in terms of goalies for using tonight here. Next game on the slate, Lightning and Kings. Another spot where I don't love. If I had to go to anyone, it'd probably be in the Lightning here with the Kings on a back-to-back here. Kings did just get absolutely stomped last night, so they could come into here wanting revenge, and Tampa has been actually pretty leaky on that. And if Jonas Johansson is in that again, Vasilevsky was sick on Tuesday. Not sure if he's going to be back here tonight. Projected to be Johansson. If Vasilevsky starts, I have no interest in the Kings. If Johansson starts, I have a lot of interest in the Kings. Number one, 2 factors. They got shut out last night, and they're going to come back in here, wanted to beat up on Tampa. And number 2, Johansson's just horrible. I mean, he's horrendous. I can't even skate out there, and I could probably go stand in the net and block a shot or 2 more than he can. Actually, probably not. That's just a joke there. But long story short, he got lit up by Chicago on Tuesday night. So Tampa could also be coming in here fueled and saying, hey, let's rebound. We got our kind of faces punched in against Chicago. Let's take it to these Kings. Could go one of 2 ways, but with Johansson in that, it's pretty tough to do that. So Johansson's in that. I have a lot more interest in the Kings, and I think they're solid even on a back-to-back. Kopitar's got a cheap price point. Kemp's cheap. Tukroat is cheap as well. The third line or the second line here with Byfield, Fiala, and Lafreniere is probably my preferred line. But again, this is all contingent on if Vasilevsky sits. If he sits, I have interest in these Kings. If not, no interest in these Kings. So got to watch news there. But Jordan Spence, Drew Doughty, both good options there as well. On the Tampa side, Point, Kucherov, Gunsel, way too expensive for me here against the Kings. Rittich is going to be in that. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been terrible. So Tampa for me is a full fade, especially at these price points. I just don't think the offense comes there. I don't think this game goes crazy. The reason I have more interest in the Kings is Johansson sucks, and the price points are a lot more affordable. Next game on the slate, this is going to be the chalk of the slate. Minus 450 favorites here. The Hurricanes at home. Not much more for me to tell you. I mean, if Soderblom goes in net, I don't expect him to do it. I think they're going to put out Peter Mrazek. Little revenge narrative for Peter Mrazek at 6,900 in tournaments. If you want to leverage all the field in general, playing Peter Mrazek, I don't think is the worst idea. He's going to see volume. Number one, Hurricanes are third in the league in shots on net, so they're averaging over 31 shots on goal. He's going to see volume. He's going to get save potential. If he keeps it to 2 or less, or maybe even 3 or less, depending on what the volume is that he sees and he saves, he could definitely be the winner in tournaments at 6,900, especially on a big slate when you have a lot of forwards and stuff to pay up for. He allows you to do a lot. So I don't hate Peter Mrazek in tournaments. I'd have less interest in Soderblom if he went. He just came off a massive game on Tuesday. I don't think he goes back-to-back in terms of that. So Peter Mrazek just for a little added factor there with the revenge factor. Outside of that, maybe some one-off fillers. Connor Bedard at 6K is still fine with his talent. Ryan Donato, 3,900 coming off a decent game. I don't hate him. Just some value plays. Tuvo Teravainen, 3,700. He's fine. Seth Jones is probably my favorite option from Chicago at 4,800. Just a very good D-man. Plays all the minutes he can handle. I'm not really worried about the matchup too much there. But we got to talk about the Carolina side. Carolina going to be the most popular team on the slate for a good reason. Blackhawks are not very good. Carolina's at home, one of the best teams in the league, especially on home ice. Aho, Mikko Rantanen, Jackson Blake, incredible stack. Super popular. Not really cared. Don't really care too much about it. Very good options. Kotkaniemi with Svechnikov and Taylor Hall, I think, is sneaky. I actually like that second line quite a bit, especially at those price points. Svech bumped up from the third line to the second line with the trades there. So I like Svech quite a bit with Kotkaniemi and Taylor Hall. And then even that third line with Martinook, Jordan Staal, and Seth Jarvis, nobody's going to play that. And I think that line is super sneaky. So my rankings actually probably go line 1, line 3, line 2 here for me tonight. The power play guys are excellent options here. Chicago's sitting sub 80% on the penalty kill, sitting right around 80%, I should say. Not the greatest power play spot here, but again, it's the Hurricanes at home. I prefer line 3, I think, is probably my sneaky line from the Hurricane side here tonight. Next game on the slate, Flyers at home against the Islanders. Not much interest in this one. Both these teams are pretty good, especially in expected goals against. If I had interest, it would probably be some of these Islanders here. Bo Horvat, I think, is a nice price point with Barzal and Anders Lee, but their prices have come up there, so I still don't love it. The only guy I will say is Alex Romanov, 4,200. Shout out my dad. With the Noah Dobson injury, a lot of these D-men have gotten thrusted into a ton more minutes. Romanov has taken that Noah Dobson role, so I really like him at 4,200, and then Tony DeAngelo as well at 4K. Both those two guys are way too cheap. So I like those guys quite a bit. Scott Mayfield down there at 2,800. He's going to get a ton of minutes. I don't mind that. So value demon from the Islander side, I think, is very good. On the Flyer side, Frost, Konechny, Tippett are still fine options here. Konechny at sub 6K, that's just too cheap for him. I don't care who you are. It's the Islanders here, which is not the greatest matchup, but it's not the worst. And for playing over 20 minutes, I mean, with his talent, 5,900, that's too cheap. So I do like Konechny. He's a great one-off, or like a mini stack with like a guy like Rasmus Ristolainen, who is slotted into that top power play now over Jamie Drysdale. So I like Ristolainen and Konechny as a two-man stack. You can add in Frost. You can add in Tippett to make 4 guys if you want there. This game is a pick-em. Could go both ways. I will say Sorokin's a pretty good goalie option at 7,600 in that mid-tier. I have more interest in him. I have no interest in the Flyers goalie here personally. But, yeah, really solid game there from a couple of fillers that is going to be definitely unique in this game. Next game on the slate here, Ducks and the Flames. Flames at home. Pretty solid spot here for the Flames at home. The only issue is Dostal, outside of when I needed him Tuesday night to bring me home, he still managed to get to 10 points somehow. That was nice to see. But, man, so close to 100K, I could taste it. But, hey, guess what? No one cares. Work harder, roll up your sleeves, get back to work here, tighten those bootstraps, and that's what we're going to do here. So, on the Ducks side, I'll start with them. Mason McTavish is playing out of his mind right now. 4,300, still cheap for him. Don't hate him. Strome, Vetrano, and Terry, that line has been super, super good. They didn't have to do much on Tuesday because all the scoring kind of came from the oddballers there. So I wouldn't be shocked to see that line rebound and put up a big number. They're still top in the league in metrics on like unblocked shot attempts for and things like that on that. So I don't mind that. Radko Gudas, I think, is a solid option from a D-man at 3,800. A lot of shot block potential there for him. On the Flame side, Kadri, really good option. Igor Sharangovich, really, really good value option at 3,300 on that top power play. That second line with Backlund, Coronado, and Coleman, that line stays together. That line's really good together. They're cheap. I don't mind them at all. Pretty good option there. But my favorites are probably Kadri and Huberdeau together. I like those two together, and then you can add in Erasmus Anderson, who's way too cheap, or Mackenzie Weegar, who are too cheap in this matchup. So I like those guys quite a bit from the Flames side. Flames are going to probably be pretty chalky here tonight, I would assume. Be careful how you play them. I probably wouldn't pair the Flames up personally with Carolina again, but Flames in a good spot. Ducks in a sneaky spot here. Dustin Wolf has been good, but he has been he has definitely given up some goals in bunches in a couple different starts there, but 2 solid goalies that could make this game go south quickly. It depends what goalies show up, and it depends. That's all contingent on what the offense does, because Dostal and Dustin Wolf both have shutouts in them for sure, talent-wise. Next game on the slate here, Edmonton at home against the Red Wings. This is going to be a chalk spot, mega chalk spot here for Edmonton. -270 favorites here against the Red Wings. I'm going to be underweight on Edmonton. I'm just going to say it right now, especially at these price points. The only, I like the cheaper guys. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at 4,700. He's still fairly priced. I don't mind him. Victor Arvidsson's got a decent price. Hyman at 6,300 is fine. But Draisaitl at 91, Connor McDavid at 95. They just need to do so much on a big slate. And looking at the numbers, the Red Wings expected goals against is sitting 11th best in the league compared to 25th best in the league in actual goals. So they're due for some good regression here. Cam Talbot's not horrendous. He's not great. I'm hoping he can just stop enough and maybe gives up 2 or 3 and doesn't give up the 4 or 5 that is probably needed here from Edmonton. But Edmonton's a good spot, good prize. But at these prices, at this ownership, I'm going to be fading and pretty much underweight. Matthias Ekholm is probably my favorite option at 4,600. He's just playing really good right now. He is questionable, so keep an eye on that. But he's a good option. On the Red Wing side, no interest for me really in any of these guys. Marco Kasper, I will say, at 3K flat, top line, top power play. He's a good value. Dylan Larkin leads the league right now in shots on goal per game on average over the last 5. So 6,300, he's fine, but not a game that I'm too intrigued in, and I think ownership is going to definitely flock to. Game I'm going to be under on for sure. Next game on the slate, I do have interest in both of these next 2 games. Kind of the late night hammer spot for me. Going to be a couple guys early, but most of my guys are going to be late night action. Vegas Golden Knights here at home. Love this spot for them. I've been a Jackets guy all season, mainly when they're on home ice. I think Vegas handles it pretty easily here tonight. Eichel still way too cheap compared to those Edmonton prices. I mean, Eichel is, $1,500 cheaper than McDavid, $1,100 cheaper than Leon. Probably has similar upside in this matchup here. So I like Eichel, Stone, Barbashev quite a bit. But my favorite options is going to be Tomas Hertl with Dorofeyev and Olaf. Tomas Hertl, number one for sure. Probably my favorite play from this game. He's just been incredible right now. He's 5,500. DraftKings just doesn't move his price. And this dude just scores every single game. I mean, he puts a puck in the back of the net almost every game I watch, and he's still too cheap. So I really like Tomas Hertl. You can pair him up with any of these other guys on the top power play. My preferred pairing is with Dorofeyev because they do correlate together on the top power play and on the second line there, and then going with a guy like Theodore. So I like the Hertl, Dorofeyev, and Theodore 3-man stack. That's pretty nice there. But Vegas, really good options here at home against the Jackets. Samsonov or Aiden Hill, whoever starts, are solid for spend outs, but there's just so many good options. I probably don't spend above Connor Hellebuyck here tonight at 7,800, to be honest for you, personally, in terms of goalie, but any of these guys up at the top tier, you can definitely play. I just prefer to live kind of in that 7,400 to 7,800 kind of range for the most part. On the Blue Jacket side, Adam Fantilli, for the amount of minutes he's playing, I mean, he's going to play over 20 minutes, at 4,800. He's still fine. Marchenko, Vornikov, but still not a spot I'm looking to play these guys. I think there's much better spots to go in on than to play some skaters against Vegas here at home. So Vegas or bust for me in that game. Takes us to the last game of the slate here, and this is definitely a good one. I think we see fireworks in this game. It is a 6 total here. But both these teams are 31st and 32nd in the league in expected goals allowed and 25th and 29th in the league in high danger chances allowed. I love both sides here. I think all the ownership goes to the Seattle side. I'm going to start and say Sharks are my preferred option here. Really like Celebrini a ton with Toffoli and William Eklund. That's probably going to be possibly could be in my core. The only issue I have is Joey Decord is just very, very good. And he can make it go south in a hurry. But still, I do like the spot for Celebrini, Toffoli here, and Eklund quite a bit. Granlund with Zetterlund is fine as well, and Will Smith. They got a nice price point. So the top 2 lines for me for the Sharks, I definitely like. Jake Wallman at 6,200, really good option in terms of the spend-up D-men. On the Kraken side, they're good options, but, man, they're going to be super, super popular. Vince Dunn at almost 35% ownership at 5,800. He's fine. Brandon Montour at 6.3 at 6.3K. I'd rather find the $500 and get up to Brandon Montour than Vince Dunn personally. Adam Larson is fine. All these other guys, Capocacco, McCann, Bjorkstrand, Jaden Schwartz, Chandler Stevenson, Matty B. Those are all good options as well. A lot of good options in this late game. Again, I prefer the Shark side. It's a little scary here because Decord is a pretty solid goalie in general, but I do think the Sharks could possibly still get to him a little bit. They got to him last time he started against them, and he gave up 4 goals to them earlier this year. Hopefully more of that comes the same. The Sharks did win this first contest between these two, 4-2. Yaroslav Askarov here, probably butchered that name like I always do there, but I think he's a solid option as well at 7,100 to leverage a lot of this chalk on this Kraken side. And I don't think the Kraken are a very good team to get this kind of ownership, but I get the matchup. I get the reason. Both these teams are pretty equal. I mean, Kraken are 22 and 28. Anaheim is 20 and 29. So, excuse me. Sorry, wrong. I have to refresh there. Let me re-say that. 14 and 38 for the Sharks. Obviously, they're like the worst team in the league, right? And then 22 and 30 for the Kraken. So not very good either. But good game to close out the slate. That's going to do it for this NHL quick hit here. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. My slate plan is already live for SHIPIT Nation subscribers out there, but good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. Until next time, let's ship it.